Today we are starting on color. So if you go on Friday's folder, we have color notes, which pop up and they're right here. And then you have the color formative assignment, which should look like this. It has just a picture of a couple color wheels. And there's nothing to do with that. You'll just scroll down till you get to the color notes part. And then we will work on the color notes and get the information in and examples for you to see. So if we first, let me make sure I'm on all the right stuff here. So first you're going to look at just the different notes, and it's talking about there's 12 different hues or colors on the color wheel. A lot of times those are just used interchangeably. They're divided in 3 categories of primary, secondary, tertiary. And so what you're going to do is add this stuff in. So you're going to put in, looking at the primary colors, is first. They're listed there. They're the red, yellow, and blue. And then there's a little color wheel that shows that on here. Please don't use the color wheel I give you. I want you to do a little bit more with it. So I would type in, just into Google primary colors. And then go to images and see what pops up. And then use whatever one you're like, yes, this makes the most sense to me that I will remember. Okay? The ones that are overlapping like this are giving you secondary colors within that. If that helps you, that's fine. If you like one like more like the primary in here, that they're sticking out, but you see the other ones, you can kind of see the space in between them, that's totally fine. Whatever works for you. But just make sure it's showing the red, the blue, and the yellow somewhere on there. And then you can just take, copy it and then paste it into the picture portion. And then we have our secondary colors. So going back to the notes, your secondary colors are the green, violet, and orange, and they're made by taking 2 primary colors and mixing them together. So like for green, green is blue and yellow mixed together. Violet or purple, a lot of times people call it, is your blue and your red, and then orange is your red and your orange mixed together. So again, put the green, violet, orange, and then just do a new search and secondary colors, and then whatever fits you put on there. Okay, tertiary colors are a little bit different. They're one of the best ways to remember is they're always a 2-name color, but they're made by combining a primary color and a secondary color together, and that's why you end up with the 2 names. The primary color should always be listed first. So if I have a yellow-green, like to me, like if I'm looking at the yellow-green, the green always looks a little more like a stronger color, but it's still, you still list the primary color first. And there's a list of all of them, and then you notice too, also what I did point out, is they're every other. So you have a tertiary color, every other color on the color wheel. So again, put those in and then find your picture. And then next is our color value, so looking at the different values of color, and it refers to the lightness and darkness of the color hue. And you can see on this color wheel that I have, that color that's the second from the top, or second from the outside, that's like your regular hue, like original kind of form. The 2, and then we have a tint, and then it has a complementary tint, just meaning it's changing it a little bit with a complementary color, but it's mostly another tint. And then we have the shade on the outside, making it a little bit darker and deeper. For value, you could find something that looks like this on here. It doesn't matter to me, but you could put in like value of colors and see what you get for images. See how there's so many of them? You could do like this one here. You can show like different hues, saturation. It shows the value in like a black and gray and white tones. I prefer you do one with like a color scheme. This is a great one right here. It's talking about a low value, meaning that's almost all black, but there's some red in it, and then it just keeps adding less black. This middle color looks like the original, like your original hue, and then adding like a tone or a tint to it from there. Okay, so you can find something like that. And then looking at more specifically, what are the tints, tones, and shades? And again, hue, just another word for color. A tint is color plus white. So you can see on the top here, it's showing the original hue. And then you can see on the red, I have original color, and then it's lighter because white is added to it, so it looks lighter. Okay, a tone is color plus gray, so it's going to not be quite as light as a tint, and it's going to be more subdued than their original color. Because we're adding, when you make gray, it's white and black, makes gray. And then the shade is a color plus black, and that's going to give me my darkest, like deepest shade, or color value on there. So, and then you just put those in there, but that's, that kind of goes down to here. Color value is down there, and then the tint, tone, shade, what it is, and then doing, this is where you just put tint, and then if you want to pick a color, you can choose a color. Like they have them on here, it's looking like it's doing a lot for cars. So you could do tint of, I'm going to do violet, whatever color you prefer. I just do it the same on each one. So, and then I could go like, oh, this, like it's almost like a little paint swatch, right? I think that really works well for it. So original, like you can have an original color showing different shades. This works well. So this is like your normal original. This is a tint. This is a shade. Or you can do multiple of them, if that makes sense. So paint swatches, when you buy them in those things, those are kind of automatically that. And then I just put it in here, depending on if it's a tint, tone, or shade, and then I just research them. Stick with the same color when you're doing these. And I think it helps it make the most sense for all of it. I'm looking at intensity also. I don't have you doing anything with this one, I don't think, but it's the brightness or dullness of a hue. And you can change this by mixing it with its complement. You can change it a lot by adding more of the complementary color, meaning right opposite the color wheel. So if I want to change the intensity of a red, like you can see on here, this red is really bright. I want to like tone it down a little bit. I'm going to add some green. And then I get, like this one looks more of like a really dark maroon or even like a red brown to me. Okay. I have blue here. I'm going to add orange to it as its complement. It's opposite of it on color wheel. And I still have a blue, but it's it's like less bright and like saturated. Same when I look at this yellow and the violet, I end up with a kind of a goldish maybe color on there, so it tones things down a lot. Looking at, that's kind of the end. Oh, I'm going to go into true neutrals and other neutrals in a little bit. Let me hop actually to that. I'll move these around so they're actually in order. So your neutrals are your black, white, and gray. And again, you can just find black, white, and gray, put it in there. And then your actual, like what we consider neutrals, they're not true neutrals because they do have some color from the actual color wheel. But in interior design, a lot of times they're considered pretty neutral. So tans, browns, off-white, beiges, like grays, like a beige and a gray together. All kinds of those colors kind of fit that neutral theme. But you still have to kind of be a little careful in how you put them together in a room. Because some neutrals don't work with like some other colors quite as well, of those non-true neutrals. So making sure you're getting that in there. And then we're looking at the temperature of color. And what I'm wanting you to do is actually find pictures of a warm room, a cool room, and a neutral room, and then that's where you stop for the day. So if I'm, oops, wrong thing. So if I go on here, oh, sorry, I forgot psychology of color. This is just going over, like, what kind of feelings do these give to a room, which is important if you're going to be a designer. Like, I would not want to do a meat store in red, right? Because then I'm going to highlight the blood and like all of that like goes on if I'm painting things red. I probably want to focus more on white for the purity portion. And when we're looking at that, the reason white, if white is dirty, you're going to see it. And that's why it's going to, a lot of times it's associated with cleanliness, because you see it if it's not. And if you want something elegant, black works really great for that. Gray also as well. A lot of classy kind of looks when you're using those three colors. But then you can also add different pops. If I'm wanting to do a hospital, Painting walls a type of green is showing good health. So it works for that. Also nature. There's tons of different stuff. If I'm doing a bedroom, most people I'm going to want to do more subdued colors, or I'm going to do more of the cool colors, which we'll talk about. This is just showing a little, like how do people plan their designs, but also designing their logos and then what they want those to accomplish as well. And then just kind of like some thoughts about what would you do with some of those things and what are some of your color preferences. Going back to your warm and cool colors though, I have cool colors are going to be your yellow, green, green, blue, blue, violet, violet. So you can see them on the color wheel, or just like one half of that color wheel. Warm colors, same thing. It's going to be that red, violet all the way through yellow. Okay? So when you're looking at this, again, you're going to go to Google, and we're going to go put in warm colors. Oops, if I can spell right. And then you're going to want to find a picture of the warm colors. So like I have some here. You have, they have them split on these, a lot of them. So you could do that. This, don't think that everything is on here. Like this says color in flower gardens, warm colors. Blue and green are not a warm color. Okay, just because you Google something doesn't mean it's right. Okay, so please keep that in mind when we're looking at this. This top stuff does though. Okay, if you need to use the same one because they're splitting them like that, that's fine. Just put it in twice, and that'll be okay. Okay, and so cool colors, and then again doing neutral colors. And then you put that in there, and then list the colors that are in the room. So, or not in the room, but in the color wheel. And so you have them right here, so you can just plop them in there. Okay, so please, if you have questions, email me. Send me anything, but this is where I want you to stop for the day, and then tomorrow I'll go over the color schemes, which is more complicated. Okay, have a great day.